What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I wanted to start things off today by saying there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now with Russia-Ukraine stuff going on. I am aware that only 60% of my views on this channel come from the USA, so any of you guys that are viewing this from across the pond over in Europe anywhere, I hope you guys are safe. I hope everything is going good for you guys. My heart goes out to everybody in Ukraine right now with what's going on. So hopefully, that can be taken care of in a relatively quick manner and with minimal collateral damage. Anyways, today I've got some new goodies for the hatch that we're going to try to get put on. I might start working on some of the nitrous wiring in the engine bay too, but I got some other stuff I want to get to first. I don't know if I showed you any of this in the last video, so I just got bumper quick releases. So I'm going to put those on today on my bumper and my fenders. So I got to put those back onto the Civic really quick, drill some holes, figure out where I want to put them at, and then put those on. That'll be nice because when I put my engine in here, it has occurred to me that I'm not going to be able to get the radiator out for whatever reason if I need to when the engine's in here with the bumper on. So I can get it out the bottom probably, but I won't be able to do that if the bumper is on there. So I got the quick disconnects. That way I can quickly take my bumper off if I ever need to in a pinch. I also got these hood pins. So we're going to install those at some point. Probably not today. I don't have anything to cut the holes with. I need to get like an angle grinder and a cutoff wheel or something like that, and I do not have one at the moment. All I have is a Sawzall, and that will make a mess of that, so we don't want to do that. So yeah, I got that. I got the quick releases. I did get these also. These are, Weld-On -16 AN fittings. So I've got 4 of those guys. So those I'm going to take up to Becky's dad so he can weld on to my water pipe and thermostat housing. So those will go here and here. That way I can run my AN lines to my new radiator and not have to worry about trying to figure out what I'm going to do as far as coolant lines or hoses. So yeah, we're going to run -16 AN hoses. So I got the fittings for that. That's all good. I'm getting ready to order the clamp-on ones that I showed you in the last video from Auto Plumb for this radiator. I'm going to go ahead and order those today, so I'll have those sometime this week, hopefully. And so that way, when my engine is done, again, I still don't have a block, but when my engine is done, everything's put back together, I get it in the car, I don't even have to worry about what I'm going to do for the radiator or the coolant lines. All that stuff will already be figured out. The last piece of that puzzle is going to be a fan. I still need to look into getting a fan for that, but I got some other stuff coming up right now that's pretty tough. So a little bit of backstory on that. Not that any of you guys care, because that's nothing to do with this channel or my car. But when I had my knee surgery a few months ago, I injured my knee playing rugby with my local rugby team. And every year we have dues that we pay to play. And with those dues, the team has insurance. So if you get hurt playing or while playing on the field, the team insurance will cover any of your out-of-pocket expenses. So that's what happened. I filed a claim through them with my knee surgery and everything, and they were supposed to be taking care of my portion of the bills that I was getting billed for my knee surgery, which ended up being about $10,000 that I would have to pay out of pocket. So I was submitting them every time I got a bill. And they were just kind of giving me a runaround the whole time. I didn't really know what information I needed to get for them. They weren't being very clear about it. It just seemed like they didn't want to have to pay for it, so they were just kind of brushing me off to in turn make me responsible, which is what happened. I got a letter in the mail yesterday from collections saying that, congratulations, you've now inherited almost $10,000 in debt because that insurance never covered my out-of-pocket bills, which sucks. So money is very tight right now, guys, and I don't know when I'm going to get around to any new parts or a block or finishing this car, and it sucks. It's like a blow to the chest, because all I'm trying to do is provide content for you guys, so that way if any of you guys have any of this stuff going on in your own cars, then you know what to do and how you can fix it. Not only that, but keep you guys entertained. I'm trying as hard as I can. You know, I'm trying to post as many videos as I can. I'm trying to collect as much content as I can, but with this stuff happening, it is becoming very hard. By no means am I going to end the channel. I'm going to be here doing everything I can for you guys, because I know I have a lot of you guys that watch regularly, and I don't want to end just because this crap's happening in my outside life that has nothing to do with this channel. So that being said, just be patient with me. Things are going to be pretty tough for me for a little while, and getting car parts for the hatch and stuff like that is also going to be really hard for me to do. I'm going to do everything I can to continue and make it work for you guys. But I can't promise anything significant is going to be happening anytime soon. It sucks because I'm getting married in a few months, and I was really looking forward to having my car done, having it at the wedding so I can rip a fat burnout out in front of the wedding when that time comes. But unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be able to swing that or not with all of this stuff going on. But anyways, enough of that sad crap. We do have parts now that we can put on, so we might as well do that while we have them. I'm going to go ahead and start on that. We're going to get the bumper on, we're going to get the fenders on, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So let's get to it. All right, guys. So first things first, fenders on. I don't know if I can show you guys this. Becky's up with Brad. Got me a nice new fender for the hatch for Christmas because I ruined that one when my tire fell off after I put that last engine in. So anyways, nice new fender going on that side. I'm going to go ahead and get it mounted on, get the other fender on, and then, yeah, we'll go from there. So. Alright guys, so I got my first little bumper quick disconnect. So I got this screwdriver that fits basically perfectly through it. What I'm going to do is, so I can figure out where I want to put it at, which should probably be right around here. And I can take the screwdriver and make a little mark in my fender. So that way I know where to drill the hole at. So now, I can take my drill. There ain't nothing behind it, we're good there. And make that mark. For future reference, you should be wearing safety glasses when you're doing this kind of work. My eyes already barely work anyway, so it is what it is. I'll wallow the hole out a little bit. Now I'm going to grab my bolt and make sure it fits through. And if it does, we can go ahead and mount this guy on there, put the rubber band thing around it, and then figure out where we want to put the bottom one down here. Probably in this area here, so that way it can reach across and hold the fender up there nice and tight. Alright, so I walled out the hole a little bit with the drill, so now the screw fits nicely through it like that. So now we can put it through our quick disconnect fitting, slap it on there like that. Boom. We got these washers that came with it. Those are going to go on the back side of the fender. So, washer up in the back, it's on it. Now we'll get the nut on there, thread it on a little bit, just so it's holding the washer, and then we can go ahead and tighten everything down. So now I'll grab our Allen wrench that matches that, and we can go ahead and tighten this guy down, and we'll start lining up the bottom. Alright, so we got our 10mm ratchet wrench that'll go on the back side. Want to make sure that's tightened, which it was not, now it should be. Put that on the nut back here. And we can go ahead and tighten down. That. Position them how we want them. Like that. Yeah, that looks good. Figure out where we want to line the bottom one up at. Do the same thing in the bumper, and then yeah, we'll move on to the other side. All right guys, so that's exactly how it's going to sit now. So bumper's pretty good. Once the other side's tightened down, you can see how much slop is over there. Once the other side's tightened down, it won't have near as much play in it, but yeah, it's basically just gonna look like that. So now all I gotta do to get my bumper off is to pull this rubber band off, take out all 5 of these Phillips head screws, and then I'll have to take the rubber band out of this side, and then boom, bumper comes off. So that easy. I won't have to jack my car up anymore, I won't have to take my wheel off anymore, I won't have to do any of that. And yeah, just have to pass tech inspection at the track. All right, guys, so I got them on both sides now, so yeah, should be holding pretty good. You know, it's not exactly perfectly stable. You know, like, I worry that when I'm going on the track and the wind hits my bumper, it's going to be doing this a lot. But I mean, if worst case scenario it does do that, we'll just put the bolt back inside of here to help keep it extra stiff. But yeah, both sides are on there now. We're looking pretty good. So yeah, next up, oh, also the fender looks pretty good too that Brad got me. So I love that. It's gonna look real nice when it's out in the daytime, especially after they get the whole car either wrapped or painted and everything matches. Now I got a blue bumper, black fender, black hood, red car. At some point I'm probably gonna have a different color driver door because that door is pretty messed up. Even maybe a front bumper before it all gets painted, so it's gonna look like a clown car now. But yeah, pretty stoked about that. That was relatively simple and straightforward. All right, guys, today we are back. It is now the following day. Yesterday we went ahead and got the bumper quick release stuff on. Today we're gonna try to tackle these hood pins. So I just got them out. They are locking hood pins too, so I can lock them so nobody can pop my hood if I want to. Here's the actual pins themselves. I went and picked up a nice Dremel for myself, so we can go ahead and cut the hood up to make the holes for that. So right now, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put the pins in the core support. And there's a bunch of these holes that are already here for whatever. So, and it fits perfectly in them holes. So I'm gonna use those holes, but I'm kind of thinking that one right above the headlight would be nice, like that. I'm just worried that the bottom of the pin might interfere with putting the actual headlight back. So before I go ahead and tighten anything down and call this where we're gonna do it, I'm gonna put this in, and then I'm gonna mock up the headlight and make sure that it's not in the way of anything, so we can be positive that when we go to put everything back together on the front end, we're not gonna run into any problems because of those. Excuse me. If that is a problem, we can't get the headlight back in there. We could shorten this bolt if I wanted to, or I could just move it down to here where they won't cause any problems and just put them towards the middle of the hood. So yeah, first things first, we're gonna put the pins in here, try to figure out the height that we want, and then yeah, we'll go ahead and put the hood on, headlights in, and make sure that everything fits. So let's go ahead and get that right now, and yeah, we'll see what it looks like. All right, you guys, so I've got my light, just one bolt holding it in right now, but you can see where these are lined up and ready to be put in, and the hood pin is not giving us any issues at all. So that spot should work perfectly on both sides, thankfully. So anyways, unfortunately, I do not have a drill bit big enough to drill a hole for that to fit through. The biggest one I have is a 1/2 inch. I'm gonna need at least probably a 5/8 for that. And it is Sunday in the late afternoon, so unfortunately I'm not gonna be able to get anywhere to pick up a drill bit at the moment, so that's gonna have to wait until tomorrow probably. But that's okay. When I get off work tomorrow, I can go grab a drill bit and then get to working on that. And then once I get the holes in my hood drilled, and then I can align the hood pins to see how high I want them to sit or how low I need them to sit. And then I can line up these guys in the hood and cut the hole for that. So yeah, it should be a pretty smooth process, I think. I just got to get a drill bit big enough to drill into my hood to fit the hood pins through. So unfortunately, that's going to be all I can really do tonight. So yeah, we're gonna have to resume this video tomorrow, and yeah, we'll get these things on. Today we are going to hopefully finish installing the hood pins in this guy. You can see the pins themselves are already in there on both sides. We just gotta get them holes drilled. I went to the store today after work and got myself a step bit so we can step up the hole size to whatever size we would need to fit those pins through the hood. So now I'm gonna go ahead and mark on the pin or on the hood where the pins are, so that way we can go ahead and drill the holes, lower the hood all the way down to where it needs to be so the pins will stick up through, and then we can use those to align where we're going to put the actual clips themselves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some toothpaste or something that I can see pretty easily, put it on top of the pin up there, and then close it. Actually, I don't really need to do that because I can see right where it's touching on this little nipple type deal right there, but yeah, both sides are right there. I'm still going to use a little bit of toothpaste just so it's perfectly aligned and I don't accidentally drill the hole slightly in the wrong spot. So I'm going to put some of that on there. We'll close the hood onto the pins, lift it back up. We'll see where the toothpaste is touching at, and then that's right where we'll drill the holes. So yeah, let's get started. So we got our toothpaste here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glob on top of the pin like this. That way we'll be able to see where they're hit on both sides. Sorry, the camera's kind of crazy. Only one person trying to hold my hood up and put toothpaste on the pins. So now we can just gently close the hood down, boom, on top of the pins. And when we open it back up, we'll be able to see where they're touching at and drill the holes. All right, I don't know how well you guys can see everything. I guess you kind of can. I'm just gonna squat down a little bit. Cool. So I'm gonna lift up the hood here. We should be able to see right here and right there pretty clearly. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I can see pretty clearly where those pins are touching. So I got my drill and my drill bit here. So we're gonna go ahead and just, you know, bust up my nice hood a little bit. Okay, got one side. I'm actually gonna leave it how it is. The other side here. Okay, both the holes are drilled. Now all we gotta do is step the hole size up a little bit. So in order to do that, we will go get the step bit and we'll make the holes a little bigger. All right, so here we have our step bit. So I think we only got to get them up to probably 7/16 or so, but I'm just gonna go until it fits and we'll see what happens, because we're gonna end up cutting the whole thing out anyways to put those the actual clips themselves in, so it doesn't really matter if we make the hole a little too big. So we're just gonna go for it and see what happens. Okay, that one looks like it's gonna fit. Okay, so now we can see the pins are sticking up through. Obviously the hood is not all the way closed because the pins are just a little too high. We can obviously lower them later, but for now I'm going to leave them sticking up so I can see where the actual holes in the pins are. So that way when I put my plastic clips on, I have to make sure they hit this hole right here. So leave them sticking up a little bit like that. I should probably clean them off a little bit, but I'll be able to stick this right over top like that, trace around the clip itself, and then I can get my new Dremel out, cut the holes out real nice, stick these in there, screw them down, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and clean these pins up a little bit, and then get some tape, and we'll tape off the areas of the hood so we can actually draw and outline this piece, and then we can cut it out and mount everything up. So one thing I think I am going to do really quick is get my Dremel out and cut this piece off. That way this bolt, or this nut, I'm sorry, can go all the way up and sit flush against the core support, because right now it's a little wobbly. As you can see right there, you can't get it to sit flush because it's not flat. So I'm going to go ahead and get my Dremel and cut this piece out on both sides, and then we can tighten the nut all the way up against the core support and make it actually sit flush. So we'll do that first, that way we get this little wobble out. I probably should have done that before I cut the holes in the hood, but I don't imagine it's going to change the position of this too much. So yeah, we'll just try that and see what happens. I had a heck of a time last night trying to find cutoff wheels for the Dremel. Unfortunately, that small town I live in doesn't really have a whole lot of options. I had to drive pretty far, and even then still had a hard time finding them, but ended up finding some. These actually have plastic and metal cutoff wheels in there. The ones that I was using were just like some generic all-purpose cutoff wheels, so they weren't lasting very long when cutting metal. So these should do fantastic, everything I need. Now we can get the actual clips themselves. Figure out the hood pin has to line up with that hole. So my game plan here is basically just to sit that right there like that. Well, I guess we can open it. That way we can make sure that the pin is the pin and everything's in the right spot like that. And then I'm gonna get some masking tape, tape this area off, and then trace around. You can't even see, I'm not even holding it right. Cool, Josh. Trace around the actual clip itself, and then get the Dremel and just cut the hole out. That should sit right down in it, and then we can adjust the actual pins themselves to sit lower, so that way the hood will close all the way. So yeah, first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the hood a little bit because it's pretty dusty, and then we'll lay some masking tape over the holes. All right, guys, so we got the masking tape on there. I got the rough outline done. So I'm gonna take my Dremel and just kind of trace this hole all the way around, and then we'll take a sanding bit for it, sand the hole down, make it look somewhat nice, and then we'll see how it fits in there. Got our handy Dremel here with the nice metal cutoff wheel. Okay, we got the basic outline done, so now we can go ahead and get a hammer or something, pop that guy out, and then we can try to get the curves as good as we can. I might just take the little grinding wheel for that thing and just grind out the curves on the ends. I got to cut the skeleton of the hood out here. I got the piece out of the top, but this skeleton piece of the hood right here, I cannot reach from the top side, so I'm just going to cut some sort of general square out of that just to make room. I don't really care what it looks like underneath. No, it should. It doesn't really make a huge difference to me, so let's go ahead and get cutting. Okay, that looks pretty good. Almost matches the hole perfectly. And now we can go ahead, we'll close it and try to grind the roundness into these, or into that one, I guess, and then we'll see how it fits in there. Should fit pretty nice, I think. And then we can bolt it down. Okay, got all the holes drilled now. I do have to remove more of the skeleton underneath because these little tiny screws aren't going to be able to reach all the way through the hood and the skeleton of it. I got all the holes drilled, so once I get that little piece of the skeleton off the bottom, I can go ahead and bolt it down, and then we can see how it fits. All right, guys, we got the first one installed. It is currently latched, so it lined up. Everything's looking good. So now we can go ahead and get started on this side. I'm going to leave that one latched so we can ensure that once we put this one on, they'll both be lined up perfectly. And then once we get this one on, we can adjust the height of the actual pins themselves so we can lower it down, because right now, even though that's hatched or latched, the hood latch isn't even close to touching. So we've got to probably come down a good inch. So might even have to get rid of this big black spacer in here. But we'll see. I don't know. It's got to come down quite a bit. So, well, at least for sure have to cut that spacer down a little bit, but I'm not really sure how far down quite yet to go. So we'll see. All right, guys, just got the other outline for the second hood pin on. So now we can go ahead and start cutting that guy out. I'm not too concerned with it, especially considering the botched up job I already did with this hole in the hood. So, you know, really, whatever. It is what it is. If it turns out pretty bad, eventually I'm going to get a new hood anyways, because this is just a mess. And we'll go from there. So we'll get to cutting on this thing and see what it looks like. we just got both hood pins on. They're both latched, so looking good. We know that everything's lined up. We're good to go there. Now we can go ahead and try to shorten them a bit so that way we can get the hood to close all the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the hood latch in here, and then I'm going to latch my hood all the way down to where it would normally be if I had, you know, didn't have these hood pins. Open the clips, that way the pins can just slide up through, and then yeah, and then we'll just lower each side until they line up, and then we'll snug them down there. All right guys, got the pins on there all good and tight. I put the little rubber bumpers back on there. I had to cut them down a little bit, but they're on there. Everything closes, lines up good. So the last piece of this puzzle now is to get this hood latch off, because we do not need it anymore. So it looks like it's just 3, looks like 12mm bolts. And then we can just get this cable out, run it all the way through into the car, and then yeah, we'll have that thing off. Hood pins on, and we are ready to rip. All right guys, we no longer have a hood latch. I got the whole cable out. I was lucky enough I was able to save these plastic clips that tie the cable to the body, so I was able to reuse them for this wire, because this wire was zip tied to the cable. So once I took the cable out, this wire was just dangling down on my tire. So I was able to save 2 of those clips without breaking them, so that way they're holding the wire now. I can zip tie this little red one to this one. And go from there. So I pulled the cable out from through the nipple. It's no longer this probably can't see it, but the hood latch is no longer functional. There's nothing there. And yeah, so when we close the hood now, it should just fall right onto the hood pins, and we should be able to just latch them right up. Let's see how it goes. Boom, boom, and boom. Now we have a secure hood with no hood latch. So we'll call that a success, guys. I do want to put the bumper, at least just set it on there, so I can check to make sure the gap isn't just wild right there. The fender should be fine. Everything should line up where it was, but I want to make sure when I put the bumper on, the hood's not sitting down so far that it's going to touch the bumper, or vice versa, where it's just sitting up so high that there's just a gap. So yeah, we're going to check that real quick, and then we're going to call it a day on this thing, guys. All right, guys, the hood latch. The hood pins are on. Everything functions perfectly as it should. It looks great. They look symmetrical. You can't even tell that I even eyeballed it. It looks fantastic, almost perfect. So I couldn't be happier with how it turned out, guys. Thank you all for watching. I had a great time filming this video for you guys, as well as got a lot of stuff done on my car. And yeah, I can't thank you guys enough for watching and supporting the channel. I do everything I can to keep you guys entertained. I know I talk a lot. I know I'm pretty monotone. I know it's not that entertaining to watch sometimes. I am sorry. I appreciate those of you sticking around and watching the videos. This is probably one of the last videos that I'm going to do for a little while of the actual body stuff. I'm going to get back to working on my heads, because at some point I have to pick up my block, and then once that time comes, it's time to put the block together and put the heads on, baby. So, and then we can get the engine, or the engine in the car, and we'll see what happens with it. I'm really excited. I know Becky's dad's been talking about building a roll cage and everything inside of the car, but he's got a lot of stuff going on at the shop right now. I mean, he's got cars backed up like crazy for roll cages. So if that doesn't happen this year, that's completely fine with me. I'm not going to push anything. I don't want to rush him. He's got enough stuff going on up there, and I will be just fine without a roll cage, unless I die. But we'll see. Who cares? So yeah, anyways, guys, that'll be it for today. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and we will see you next time.